This week in the UFC, we have an afternoon card going down at the Apex, and that is headlined by a bantamweight matchup between Petr Yan and Merab Dvalishvili. Now, this is kind of flown under the radar as far as a main event a little bit here. Merab has tried to get Peter to engage him a little bit to talk about the fight. There was a post that Merab even put up yesterday of talking to Petr in the hotel lobby, saying like, "Hey, like let's talk. Like let's put together our own. We're not getting a press conference for this, so let's get together and you and I do a little back and forth. Let's do something to try to sell the fight." And Jan didn't want any part of it. I mean, he is a man of few words anyway, as it is. And then also, I guess from the state side of things, Jan doesn't have the greatest English, so I'm sure he didn't want to be put in that position against Merab is a fun guy. If you follow him along on social media or if you see any of the crazy posts about Merab, it's him going wild at the waterfalls and the infamous choke escape video that he had filmed with some young lady out there. There was Merab jumping off of swings and doing flips. Merab, since he's been out there in Vegas with Aljo, has kind of been like a citizen reporter of the craziness of things that happen out on the streets in Vegas. There's been multiple people who have, let's just say that they were probably pretty inebriated, doing wild things that Merab has stood there doing commentary for while he's watching. But as far as his actual fight style goes, Merab isn't the most entertaining guy in the world because he's primarily a wrestler. He's the best takedown artist in bantamweight history. And Petr Yan spoke about that today at his media day and essentially said that nobody is interested in Merab. I disagree to say that nobody is. And I also think that Merab could have potentially been in a title contention position prior to this point had he not been teammates and best friends with Aljamain Sterling. They both came out and said they're not going to fight each other. It's not going to happen. Merab will continue to play Robin to Aljo's Batman for as long as Aljo is at the helm. Aljo's talked about potentially moving up. Well, if he moves up, I can see then Merab slotting into being a contender should he get past guys like Petr Yan and continue to win here at the top of the division. I think that this is a big get-back moment and opportunity for Petr Yan. Petr Yan is coming off of 2 losses, one of them being to Aljamain Sterling at UFC 273 last April down in Jacksonville. Tight fight, but Aljo got his hand raised. Last fall, he dropped a nail-biter to Sugar Sean O'Malley, a fight that a lot of people thought that there was controversy around the judging, that they thought that Yan won, and it was a robbery. It wasn't a robbery. It was a very, very tight fight. And especially when you break it down, you remove the commentary, you remove the sound, you remove all of that. You just go back and watch the fight. It could go either way. The third round, definitely Sugar. Second round, Petr. First round was the swing. It just depends on how you decided to go about scoring that round. In this matchup, I can't see Petr not getting back into the top of things, but Merab has the wrestling and the takedowns to be able to neutralize a lot of threats out there in the bantamweight division, as noted by his record and his accolades in the takedown department. But if we're talking for entertainment's sake, I like giving the nod there to Petr Yan. In the co-main event, it's a couple of Alexanders in the heavyweight division. You have Alexander Volkov taking on Alexander Romanov. Now, it's a little bit of a contrast in the styles. You have a big, long, lengthy kickboxer in Volkov. He's going to be looking to keep the fight at range against someone who likes to grapple, who is huge in the Greco wrestling department. His throws are next level. If Alexander Romanov is able to close the distance on Drago, get inside, and secure a takedown, it's a wrap, folks. There is no chance that Volkov is getting up and getting away from that. If we're going to look at a couple of other fights on the card that I have my eyes on and I think are certainly worth you tuning in for, no brainer for one of them. It's our guy right here. It would normally be sitting right here next alongside me, being a knuckle-dragging moron, talking all the trash that we talk every single week. It's the big ends. It's Josh Fremd. Josh Fremd is taking on Cedric Dumas, who is a Contender Series vet. But when we're looking at the resumes of these two, it's to me, it's not comparative. I mean, hey, all credit to Dumas. He's undefeated coming into this fight, but he's only 7-0. He's also fought really only one major test, and that was his fight on the Contender Series. And yes, he did win that fight. But again, if we're looking at the caliber of the guys that he fought leading up to that point, it leaves some things to be desired. It just, in my book, it's not comparative when you look at some of the guys that Josh has fought in relation to Gregory Robocop Rodriguez, Renato Valente, Fluffy Hernandez, Joel Bauman. All of these guys are all very skilled and talented fighters. And I'm certainly biased in this one. I'm as close to the forest as you could possibly be for this one. But if the real big yins comes out there, that is a boy from Pittsburgh who likes to drink beer and chuck them things. So if Josh Fremd goes out there and does what he does, or does what he is capable of doing, this is a highlight reel. Also, a couple of other Denver fighters that are going to be on this card. We have Jonathan the Dragon Martinez taking on Said Nurmagomedov. Now, this matchup, to me, is very intriguing because Jonathan is riding high right now, coming off of that enormous victory against Cub Swanson. And then Said Nurmagomedov is someone who is riding a streak in his own right. He's got a very strong front headlock game. But I do believe that tactically, Jonathan has tools to be able to negate that. Now, Said Nurmagomedov, I know you hear the last name Nurmagomedov and everybody thinks that, just boogeyman. They're not of the same exact relation. They say that they're not related at all, but, I mean, they all come from Dagestan and they have the same last name. It's a very small mountainous village. Kind of hard for me to believe that they're not somehow related, intertwined, but they didn't come up together. So it's a little bit of a different makeup there. He trains under Mark Henry, so he's got a little bit of that long, lanky kickboxer style. It's going to be a firefight. This is one that you do not want to miss, and don't blink. Also from Denver on the card, JJ Aldrich. JJ Aldrich is taking on the Queen of Violence, Ariane Lipski. JJ's won the last 3 of 4, whereas Lipski is 1-3 in her last 4. I think that over the course of the last couple of fights, JJ's really kind of started to come in her own overall. Granted, she did have the lesson against Ariane Blanchfield, but as we've came to see, Ariane Blanchfield is the real deal. Ariane Blanchfield is potentially one of the next title contenders for that matter. So there's no step back in taking the lesson right there. We've talked about it ad nauseum on this program before, that who you lose to matters. That right there is a quality fight against a high-level opponent that she just happened to get bested by on that particular night. But JJ Aldrich, again, she is as tough as nails as you could possibly be right now, and I like the momentum overall in the last few fights that she's had, that she's going to move forward into this, and I think that that's a great opportunity for her to have a get-back moment against Ariane Lipski. You have the main event from a couple of weeks ago that got canceled, and Nikita Krylov and Ryan Spann got moved to this card. So that's basically, that's a main event level fight that we're getting thrown right there in the middle of the mix. How does this fight being shifted from 5 rounds down to 3 rounds help? Well, I think it certainly benefits Ryan Spann. there's been times in Span's career where he's gotten tired. I mean, he throws big bombs, and if he doesn't put you out, he kind of gasses out. So I do think that this being reduced down to a 3-round bout is certainly going to work in his favor. And then you have dangerous Davy Grant. Davy Grant is always entertaining, folks. He's looking to put together back-to-back wins after his his TKO win over Luis Smolka. In his 2 previous fights, he took losses. But again, who you lose to matters. Those were against 2 of the toughest names in the entire division. He lost to Chito Vera, who's taken on Corey Sandhagen in a top contenders matchup here in just a couple of weeks. And then he gave Adrian Yanez absolutely everything that he could handle, so much to the point that one of the 3 judges scoring the fight sitting cage side scored the fight for dangerous Davy Grant. That was a split decision loss for him. So, I think that this is a great opportunity for Davy Grant to get back in there and put together back-to-back wins. You have Jared Night Train Gooden, who is also back in the UFC after a little tour down on the regional scene. He was a long time, multiple fight UFC vet prior to that. Got let go or wasn't re-signed. Has a couple of fights on the regional scene, ex-MMA, so on and so forth. Then gets his call back to the UFC here on short notice and will be fighting at welterweight this weekend. That right there wraps up our segment here on this weekend's UFC Vegas card. Guys, what do you think? Is there any matchup out there that is sticking off the paper to you? Is there someone who you are really looking forward to watching this weekend? Let us know on the Go Fast Energy Drink hotline and text line at 303-831-1340, or hit me up on Instagram at Comments from the Peanut Gallery. Let me know what you think. I can sit here and talk shop all night when it comes to fights. And right before we hit the break, I do also want to say one way that you can help support us here at the MMA Plug and the fight community as a whole, as well as the fighters that are featured in the merchandise. Go to www.mmatees.shop. Again, all proceeds are split with the featured fighters, and there's also that percentage that is going to be coming to us as well here at the MMA Plug. So please check that out, and we will be happy to make anything work for any businesses that are trying to work here with the MMA Plug and get your name out there as well. So let us know. That's me, Jordan Kurtz, at Comments from the Peanut Gallery. That wraps up our UFC Vegas preview segment. Stick around after the break, folks. This is the MMA Plug.
Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. That helps us continue to produce this original MMA content and bring it for you every single week. Tune in to the MMA Plug presented by DenverSportsBetting.com on 98.1 FM, Mile High Sports Radio on Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 p.m.
or live stream at DenverSportsBetting.com/radio.